Can you imagine a situation? I know this is would be hard to imagine, but can you imagine a situation where a family got into a squabble about the inheritance? Is that even possible? This is exactly the situation that Jesus walks into here at the beginning of the gospel today. Someone's trying to pull him in on this family inheritance battle, but Jesus doesn't take the bait. Rather, he gives this parable that we just heard about this rich man who, on the surface, looks to be doing everything right, but God ultimately calls him a fool. So, what makes a fool? And then, secondly, how not to build the wrong barn. First, what makes a fool? The Bible addresses foolishness over 100 times throughout all the scriptures. And when the scriptures speak on foolishness, it doesn't primarily have to do with low intelligence. But rather, when the scriptures speak about foolishness throughout the entire Bible, what it means is someone who's morally and spiritually misguided. Someone who ignores wisdom. And according to the Bible, wisdom simply means to live life well. You're wise. So in the parable we heard, the man asked himself, what shall I do? For I've accumulated all this extra grain. I don't have enough space for my harvest. He says, I'll know what I'll do. I'll tear down my barns. I'll build larger ones. I'll store it up. I'll take it easy and then, enjoy it. But God says, you fool. Tonight you're going to die. And you thought you were going to take it easy and enjoy it. You're not going to at all. It's important to ask, though, precisely why does God call him a fool? It's not strictly speaking because he was rich, of course. It's not because he was a good farmer. And it's not even because he tore down the barn and built larger ones. If that was the case, I'd have to call home tonight and tell my dad because we've done that, okay? The answer lies in this last verse. Verse 21 sums it all up. Thus it will be for all who store up treasure for themselves, but are not rich in what matters to God. This man prioritized and valued earthly things that pass away, possessions, success, comfort. He prioritized them, was more concerned about earthly things, these things that pass away, more than the things that matter to God. This is by definition foolish. And here's what's interesting. This man did not think he was being a fool. His neighbors probably looked across the way and did not think to themselves, what a fool. They're probably thinking he's being strategic. Smart guy. He didn't think he was a fool. His neighbors didn't think he was a fool. But God said he was a fool. And if God says one's a fool, you're a fool. So, how not to build the wrong barns. And let's have real talk here for a minute, okay? Real talk. It can be really, really difficult not to build the wrong barns here in the western suburbs. It can be really difficult to not have your life be about possessions, to get more, to want. The Lord says to be guarded, not to have your life to be about greed. Greed in the classical sense is not just about wealth, but the desire to accumulate more and more and more. It is so easy here, so easy to pour your life into your career. Nobody would call you a fool for doing it. You would be applauded on your way up the ladder. Again, the success in climbing up the ladder is not the problem. It's when it's valued or that it comes at the expense of what matters to God, comes at the expense of my soul, comes at the expense of my family soul. Thomas Merton on this front, he said, people may spend their whole lives climbing the ladder of success only to find once they reach the top, the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. Working hard, chasing promotions, gaining success, only at the end to realize that it was the wrong ladder, that you built your life on things that pass away. This is foolish, God says. It's foolish, but it's incredibly easy to do. A couple of weeks ago, Scotty Scheffler, he's 29 years old, he's undoubtedly the best golfer in the world right now. He's probably been the best golfer for the last year and a half in the world. Right before the British Open in a press conference, he said this: I feel like you work your whole life to celebrate winning a tournament for like a few minutes. It only lasts a few minutes. That kind of euphoric feeling. I literally worked my entire life to become good at golf. And then you win, celebrate, get to hug my family. It's such an amazing moment. And then it's like, okay, now what are we going to eat for dinner? Life goes on. This is exactly the point of the first reading from the book of Ecclesiastes. Vanities, oh vanities. Just things that pass away. It's a puff of smoke. There it is, and then it's gone. Exactly what Scotty Scheffler is saying. He goes on and he says, I'm not out here. He says, I am not out here to inspire the next generation of golfers to be the best in the world. Because at the end of the day, what's the point? He said. This is not a fulfilling life from the sense of like the deepest places of your heart. That is an incredibly refreshing thing to hear. That press conference from Scotty Scheffler went viral. I think because it taps on, especially in our culture that tends to put sports as an idol and worship sports. You know, Tom Brady, I saw just like a couple of days ago, he saw Scotty Scheffler's press conference and Tom Brady critiqued it. Tom Brady, best quarterback probably of all time, 6 Super Bowls, maybe 7 Super Bowls. But I remember when I was reading his critique of Scotty Scheffler, you can read the critique, but I remember the documentary made on Tom Brady at the end of his career. I think it was right before his last Super Bowl. Tom Brady said, what are you willing to give up to be the best you can be? You only have so much time and energy. The clock ticks on all of us. If you're going to compete against me, he said, you better be willing to give up your life because I'm giving up mine. I remember hearing that and I just winced. And I was like, oh, I hope not. I hope not. That's why it's refreshing, Scotty Scheffler's comment. Not only does it point to leaning up again or climbing up the wrong ladder, but also with regards to sports, again, in the western suburbs. It is so easy to put activities and sports above God. It's easy to do it on a number of different levels. Sports is, you can grow in virtue, you can grow in character, you can grow in discipline. You'd be applauded the entire time. Nobody think you would be a fool. But what kind of barns are we building if we put our children's sports above God? What barns are we teaching our children to build if we miss Mass on Sunday because of the sports? Even if it's missing Mass one time because of sports, it is foolish, God says, to put other things that pass away above Him and above what really matters to God. He says it's foolish. So to answer the question, how not to build the wrong thing, how not to build the wrong barn. Here it is. Make Jesus and Catholicism the center of your life. Make Jesus and Catholicism the center of your life. If you're married, you have a family, you have young kids, do everything you can to run your household with Jesus and Catholicism at the center of it. Have everything run in, through, and out of Jesus and Catholicism. No matter what stage and season in your life is. If you're going back to college in a few weeks, getting ready to start your very first year of college, make Jesus and Catholicism the very center of your life. Don't build the wrong barns. It's easy to build the wrong barns, though. And maybe I'll end with this. Who's a fool? We're all fools. I'm a fool. We've all stored up treasures in the wrong places. We all have, if we're honest, we all have parts of the corners in our hearts right now that store up in the wrong places, that build the wrong barns. We've all let other things at times take priority over God. Jesus was the only one who was truly rich in what matters to God, truly rich in mercy, truly rich in holiness, truly rich in always obeying the Father. Jesus was. And yet he became poor and he emptied himself on the cross. He allowed himself to appear as a fool so that we don't have to die as a fool. So build wisely. Build wisely. Give your life to Jesus and let him make you rich.